Okay. Hey, listen, I didn't. Oh, I need to turn on.
Are you speaking?
Yeah, but it's childhood in Granville.
How are you doing, Mr. Steve?
You got the big six in.
Okay, we're the big six. We're here. We all have water. You got water right now. Got water.
Give me the okay when you're ready.
Yeah, just checking something here.
Yeah. This is the trying to get it out.
No, we don't have any in our phone. You and me. Judy will represent.
She's a class.
I know. No, she's 2 years.
Okay.
I think I got you. Say something real quick. Come on.
Say something like from here. Like welcome. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hear me now? I don't Gosh, everybody got quiet all of a sudden. We're just working on making sure we get the YouTube thing going so people can hear. All the people listening at home, watching at home. All the millions of people.
We should all say hi to the person we know who's watching.
Let's get that out of the way. Everybody jump up and say good.
Hi, Kelly.
There you go.
Oh, that's Kelly Donahue. Yeah.
We should have got rid of
Meditating. See meditating.
Is she driving? Oh, it's just like. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Suddenly not.
Yeah, I know.
It's not like that. It's more
Just not working.
You are. That's what Jimmy said. I heard your name.
Still out there.
I think there's some ways in my house. I just like to ignore them.
Then I did
I just feel like Todd lied on it.
Or
in the
Oh my God. Oh, he lied so much. He told her fast enough. He said right, yes. But the more he lied, it was funny. The more he lied, the better he was. Yeah.
Sorry,
And
Craig.
he made me laugh so bad, so whatever he was saying, mom and dad thought I did. But it was so funny, it was outrageous.
I have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, do you need any help there, Steve?
It's just cut out. You can't hear anything without it. I don't know why.
Say something now.
What's that? Talk. Talk, talk, talk. Anything, you get anything now?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead and start. All right. Apparently still have some technical difficulties. I am not going to help with that.
Did you even tell that story?
But we can get started anyway. Welcome, everyone, to the Granville Historical Society, third in a series of growing up in Granville. We did the 50s, which was well received. We did the 60s, which was well received. Statute of limitations ran out on a couple of things, so it's up to you folks now just to see if you can get by with the same stuff. Couple of things. This is an audience participation. You can ask some questions. They aren't really, you may have some ideas, but if you do, make yourself loud. Stand up if you want. Give your name, and then ask your questions. We're going to just give them basically some subjects and let them go. There's no set way we're going to do this. We just, if you look at them, we've got some talkers here. So, we're just going to basically turn them loose. So, by the way, if you aren't already a member of the Granville Historical Society, here's your great chance: $50 per household. Plenty of these are hanging on the wall there. So we're going to pass around a sheet also. It's going around, okay, to add your names if you graduated from Granville, maybe put your class graduation here. Anyway, so we have Jenny Lepart Richards. We have Richard Gosnell. So if you didn't know that, that's we have Beth Rucker White. We have Tim Blackstone. We have Darcy Durst Rufford. And we have Jody Weaver. So I don't know where you want to start, but I've got down school dance.
I will start by saying one thing.
Yeah,
Anything that did happen back in the 60s, late 60s or 70s, that happened at the Shane's house or Borden's house.
well, the first volley's been thrown. I've got other things, the teachers, best, worst, sports, band, town makeup, movies, wherever you want to start. I don't care.
Say it again.
Yeah, what was that first
I just wrote this.
I just confused it,
School
yeah.
dances, were there school dances after the football games? I mean, where were we used to have dances in the Methodist church basement.
I don't remember that.
Well, I'm not old.
Coffee house.
Coffee house.
Yes,
Or at the school.
well, the Baptist church had youth center before the coffee center. Called, wasn't it called?
NYS.
Intersect.
We were
Yeah.
Oh.
Intersect.
I do remember
That was-
the day that the parents would get together after the football games, like the coaches and their wives and stuff, and my dad was part of that group as a band director, and they'd walk into your house with like a 6-pack of beer, and my sisters and I would be sitting on the steps, and your parents would be like, didn't see. Parents didn't, or teachers didn't drink.
That was your house too? I lived in a brown house right next to the elementary school. And that was like the big place to the football games. All the parents would come there and everything. Kind of how I met my wife.
But yeah, it was a pretty good place to live. The ox roasts and all that stuff we used to have. Elementary school was a hub.
So the coffee house.
Who ran the coffee
Where was the coffee house?
Above Granville.
Yeah.
That's not delicious. I don't know who ran coffee.
They're parent volunteers. I'm not sure. That was the beginning of the rec center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was after school and then on Friday and Saturday night.
Right, yeah. I remember my parents, when I started going, they got me into volunteering.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, oh, there's no volunteering.
Was there a pool table?
And,
Yeah.
And in the bowling,
The
bowling was still there?
bowling was-
The bowling, yeah.
Yeah, the bowling with
The lanes were there.
The lanes were there, yeah.
The little mini.
like a puck. Yeah.
On the top of the table.
That, I don't think it used.
That's good.
Well, we still have the Opera House, so we'd go to movies, the Opera House.
Over the movies.
Yes, yep,
Denison.
and and up at Denison, there was a movie theater there, so we would bum around up there. And I know what was the Baptist church, they had that great space, so they did a lot of entertaining. We had dances there, and they would open it up on Saturday, and kids would go play basketball, and they had a really nice youth group.
Now like the education center next to the Baptist church in town. Yeah. Well, it's still a free school.
Right.
Hey, Greg, here's one for you, Greg.
What's that?
Here's one for you that my dad told me. My dad's 92 years old and he grew up in Granville. He was talking about when he was a young kid, you know, Saturday nights was a big gathering night in Granville. A lot of farmers would come in town and everything. He said back in the 30s and stuff, Granville was kind of like a farming community. And Granville didn't really start to grow until like the 40s. That's when it started taking off. But he said back in the late 30s and early 40s, on the backside of Gregory Hardware, he said they would put a sheet up on the wall and they would project movies up on it. So the kids would sit there and watch it while the parents came into town to do their shopping and stuff like that. They kept the kids busy, so that's kind of a neat story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What movies were at the Opera House?
Oh my gosh. So many.
Yeah, my wife was cold.
Yeah, the heat wasn't
Yeah,
working.
he wasn't working.
Like Dr. Shinaga, so.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I remember that. Oh, so many.
The original
And it was
King
50
Kong.
cents. 50 cents. yeah.
That's all.
50 cents.
Yellow submarine.
And,
Hey.
There you go.
and
I saw
Granville was
that at the
just,
Opera
Granville
House.
was so small. I mean, it was just being a kid. It was just like, it was your world. You could go,
I
you
remember
could
when
go
we,
up to Denison, you could go, I mean, if you had a friend that was connected to Denison, my gosh, you could swim, you could do
Yeah.
anything at Denison.
when we moved here,
Best French fries, Slater Hall.
when we moved here from New York, and it was a big school compared to a little school, everybody knew everybody. The thing I remember the most is you would drive through town, just driving through town to see who was uptown and, hanging out uptown or whatever. It reminded me kind of like American Graffiti.
Yeah.
When we would come in, because you'd have guys that had rumble cars, loud, obnoxious cars, and they'd go through and do that type of thing. But we always seemed to congregate outside of the coffee house and then head up and hang out there. But coming from a big city to a small town, American Graffiti, I still remember that kind of feeling of being in the country and
Speaking
farm
of going
town.
through town, you remember Mrs. McCluskey? She would wave to. She knew it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd be
like,
like, yeah.
Mrs. McCluskey, okay?
Out
the window.
I love Carol.
She's got some great stories.
She loves everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody loves her.
Yeah, that's right.
Who was the widow of a former Denison football coach who, when her husband retired from Denison, it was before Piper, but they gave him a brand new Edsel. And she still drove that Edsel. It was 2 tones green. She probably couldn't afford to replace it. But if you saw that Edsel coming down the street, you ran. Because she was driving way after she lived up there by the Rutledge.
The only one I know that had an Edsel was Mrs. Loomis.
Yeah.
She lived all the way out on, she lived down on
161.
161.
She lived up by the Rutledge.
I don't know.
She loved me.
By the way,
So was the coach.
that was Jack Burris. If you say something, give your name. Oh, that's all right. I keep forgetting.
You know, Mrs. Loomis was an interesting person. But my family got to see a different side of her because this is the part I really love about Granville. My dad was a school teacher here for many years. When I was in 7th grade, he had a car accident, was never the same, tried to go back to teaching and really couldn't. I mean, we were in the hospital in the South for a month or so. Sisters came back with the Weisers who flew down to get them. I came back with Snake Carlisle and the Krauses who had been in Florida. And then my mom and dad flew back. In the meantime, my mom kept saying, charge everything at Sergeant's, I'll take care of it when I get home. You come back, there's no bill to be paid at Sergeant's. And Mrs. Loomis would come to our house after Dad got home and practice the piano with him to help him learn to play music. Just out of the kindness of her heart.
Embarrassing.
These are 3 men I admire very greatly. Chuck Weiser and Mr. Christian and my dad.
That's a great picture. So ornery.
Yeah.
I think Chuck Weiser made paddles for all of us.
Oh, yes, he did.
It's a shop.
He did.
It's a shop.
So I remember being in his class. Your first day of class was Chuck Weiser. Give his little speech. He goes, "You may be wise, but I'm wiser."
Yep.
And don't call me Bud.
You what?
And don't call me Bud.
I actually have a Chuck Weiser story. He was industrial arts teacher, and he was also a baseball coach, among who knows what else. But he used to have a push button Plymouth, automatic push button. You push drive or low or reverse.
Station
And,
wagon.
And I must have been, no, it wasn't, it was, had big fins. And I must not have been too good at shot because he generally in baseball season, I would get the job of taking his car down to the baseball field, which was down at the far end of the elementary school, and dragging the field. He'd say, take my car down. Drive. I think he just wanted me out of the shot.
So, Greg, were you part of the group on the baseball team? You played with my brother Tom, right? And before practice, you guys were down there getting warmed up and everything. It was kind of cool weather, but they were supposedly wearing shorts, their ball jackets, and the girls were over there, cheerleaders practicing everything. So a group of these guys were doing their jumping jacks. I was sitting up on the hill. Some of them forgot their shorts. They were out there in their jock straps.
Honestly.
They hurry up, put their
I would own up to that if I had.
hurry up, put their shorts on before the face down. So,
I can't imagine.
I do have a picture.
Well, we were talking about streaking and how that was such a 70s thing. It's like such a bizarre thing.
Right.
Is that when that song was popular?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There was a song,
Daddy loved that song.
did it.
Wait a minute, that ended.
Once a stranger at Denison.
For most
Yes.
people, Tim, for most people.
There were,
Keep it up.
he will rename nameless, but we had a gentleman in one of our classes that went through yeah, in your class, that went right through the middle of the gymnasium when it was full.
Yeah.
That was streaking.
Ready to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
It was, I wonder.
And he got caught. Yeah, good. But, you know,
No,
Granville.
it wasn't. Wonderful. He was older than us.
Mhm.
I could see him do it.
But your brother would eat
It's good.
anything that anybody asked him, like, it was basically a bet, kind of like, you can't eat that if you mix this together and that together and that together in the cafeteria.
And it was a yes.
Yeah. And for the benefit of some of the youngsters in the back, we were talking about the football field. The picture here, of course, the high school that we went to was the new high school. So a lot of the events went, that building isn't even there where the administrative offices are. Like I was in band and we would congregate there and march, down to the football field and so forth. Yeah. Because there was no field out at the new high school. So a lot happened in town. And again, Granville was so small. I was thinking today, I worked at Taylor's, and I mean, after 7:38 at night, there was no traffic.
Yeah.
There might be one car on the park outside, and it would get dark, early in the winter, and I had to make the deposit over at Park, and I would run, with that bankroll, and
So those
there would be
Granville
no,
people
well,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't the high crime, but there were some characters. Let's just say there were a few characters that might be lurking around.
Oh, it's
We had our one cop, right? One cop. Yeah.
Bonnie
Oh,
Fife.
Victor.
So if he was on one end of town, you knew you were safe on the other end of town.
Victor, yeah.
The starter was going out on the car, so it's like.
I think Victor locked himself out of the
You
prison.
did not get
Probably.
You're getting ticket with Brad. Your parents gotta knock on the door.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
come to the door and say, Darcy has a little bit of a lead foot. You might want to talk to her about that. How's that?
Yeah, he was a nice guy.
He was a good.
Red pen,
Yeah.
he was.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the fact that the school activities, the football games, some of the baseball games were all in town because they were behind the elementary school and the ox roast was there. It just seemed like everything, and the pep rallies were epic. the fires were epic.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Oh, yeah, the
bonfires.
Bonfires used to go,
That was,
yeah.
yeah, the homecoming
Yeah.
hot roast and the bonfire.
And it was just like, it's like everybody like is like came out of their homes or whatever and like congregated in that area. And it was just a blast. I mean, there wasn't a soul that wasn't there.
Yeah. Even when you were young. like,
Yeah.
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 Goofing around under the bleachers,
Yeah.
just like not even paying attention to the football game.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the elementary school opened up the gymnasium, they had games in there for little kids. Stuff.
And then running up to Granville pizza afterward, the swinging door, just the smell of that pizza.
I still get to smell it. I work next to Plaza.
Still the best pizza. It really, seriously. Thin crust.
I had a fort in the ticket booth for the football games. You remember the little ticket?
Yeah,
I was there on that for you.
Yeah, Beth and Susan and I.
Susan Stark and
We
I.
broke into it and put David Cassidy posters all over it. Be like 100 degrees, we'd be in that little booth like.
You know, like hanging out, just like doing nothing, like being like, we're in here. We had put posters
Yeah, I
out.
don't think the Kiwanis or the boosters knew that we were using it all summer.
I mean, we were like in fifth grade. That's fun.
That's hilarious.
I remember a thing about the ox roast. I remember it was a big deal if your mother came to get you out of school to go to the tent for lunch, because otherwise you were gonna eat in the school. You were not gonna go, they didn't just parade you out to the ox roast and say, oh, you know, give me your money. Your mother or father had to come, take you to the ox roast, and then you were like, special. Like, it was a big deal.
Oh, and that's when the mothers, I'm not sure how many fathers did, but they
Mothers
like
often did more.
made like so many pies.
Oh, they made it, yeah.
Made it all.
Oh, yeah.
It was made by our families, our parents.
Yeah.
Coaches used to make slaw or something special.
Coaches slaw.
Coaches.
Yeah.
Slaw. They got together and made slaw. Charlie Cox was.
Charlie Cox,
Oh, yeah.
my dad and mom worked with Charlie Cox at the
Oh,
ox
this is
roast.
sweet. I just heard from his wife Barb yesterday today.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, he was a hero in the ox roast.
Well, we got a lot of that ready for him. Buck did before us.
Sure you did.
Mhm.
Yeah, the ox roast was, and you said you guys, Joyce, you guys tried to redo the.
We tried to redo it.
Not the same feeling.
I mean, at the high school, you mean the last like 10 or 15 years or whatever, like the things they did before the games that were like, it wasn't.
Yeah, the tailgates.
Yeah, tailgate type things where you could just give $5 or $10 and get your sandwich and everything.
Just wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't the same. It was something to have to do with those tents and the lights under the tents and all that food that was made by everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The simplicity of life.
Yeah.
They dig a pit right out there by the kindergarten.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You cook the ox down there.
Oh, I was gonna say, there was an ox that was actually
Yeah,
roasted.
yeah, they dug a pit.
Makes sense.
I was wondering that too.
I just figured he did it.
All the old coaches,
Yeah.
They did it at Dennis.
all the old
later
coaches
on.
stand around drinking beer all night long cooking the
Right.
ox.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Somebody mentioned it, wasn't it amazing too, that Taylors, Welsh's, Blackstones, and what's the other,
Fullers.
Fullers, all had accounts that you could walk in, just buy something and just
Charge,
take it.
not charges, sergeants.
Walk away, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuller.
It was
Welsh's,
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 sergeants, Fullers.
Yeah.
And Taylors.
Taylors.
And we all
And
delivered.
Scott's, I have
Scott's,
Scott's.
yeah.
All delivered.
Yep.
They would deliver. Yep.
My husband still makes fun of me that to this day. He's like, my parents didn't give me money to go get snacks uptown. This is charge account. You know?
Yeah, I didn't either. No.
Yeah.
And then I think it was long about, I don't know, later in high school, and my dad got these bills, and he was like, $265, $265 at Fuller's every weekend. And Becky and I weren't buying candy bars anymore. We were buying Michelob.
In the back.
In the back, yeah.
Get back. And my dad was like, no more charge accounts there. And he,
We're never gonna break down anything.
I was gonna mention that.
Granville?
When you were 18, you could buy beer. So that was a lot different, you know.
We
I
weren't
didn't have
18.
to, I was charging it.
We always had a friend with an I had a charge account for you when I was 16.
Well,
you used to go get cigarettes for your mom too. I mean, like
Yeah,
legitimately.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
got busted in lunches.
I like that.
Yeah.
I charged myself a
us.
carton of cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's like
And,
fat
oh,
lunch.
and the penny, before beer, penny candy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, not to bring up Taylor's, but Taylor's, I know the small Cokes were a nickel.
Yeah.
The large ones were 10 cents. If you added flavoring, it might have been a little
Phosphates.
more.
Phosphate,
Phosphates,
vanilla phosphate.
or a cherry Coke or something like that. The pretzel sticks were a penny.
Do you guys remember Jiffy?
Yeah.
Jiffy
George.
I'm just gonna say Jiffy George.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy George's.
No,
Yeah.
Jiffy George was on the
Other side.
It's on the.
No, so it's-
Yeah, the other side.
Yeah.
Kids
Scott's,
next to David.
Dark side.
next to Scott's or whatever.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah.
And, Peggy's from
What was the record store? I forget.
I was just
What
thinking.
was the name of the record
Lower
store?
level?
Yeah.
What was it?
No, the lower level was
No.
under, no, the record store was up by Jimmy George.
Starts with
Yes.
an A.
What was the record store?
Acoustics Unlimited, that's it.
That's it, Acoustics
Yeah.
Unlimited.
Nicely
Yeah, yeah.
done.
We spent a lot of time in there.
That's-
Yeah.
yeah.
Over by
It
Jimmy
was-
George's and Scott's.
Yeah.
Before Granville left.
I forgot
Yeah,
all about
yeah,
that.
for Granville Electric, yes.
And then the lower level was under the Town and Gown, and they did leather works. Remember?
beads.
And beads. Leather works though, they made their own belts
I
and.
never went there.
What was over by Dr. Shepherd's
You missed
office?
out.
I'm sad.
Yeah,
the lower level.
There.
The lower level,
Yeah.
had all leather in there.
Brushes?
Oh, there was a, yeah,
There was like
Yeah.
a psychedelic
They made-
stuff.
yeah, there was on the other
Alley
side.
Cat?
By incense and all that stuff in
There
there.
was Alley Craft, yeah. Alley Craft was in the alley.
We probably would.
Where they would have craft things in the alley between sergeants and,
My mom worked at Granville.
what was the name of that?
Like
I
the only
can't
woman.
remember. You're right, there was a,
And I'd go up to
Paul
Thresh's
probably
after
remember.
school.
It has
And
like
then
a
the
zodiac
19th
sign
or
up
she was
so.
wrapping papers there.
Huh?
Rolling papers now.
My lumber company, go to the bathroom and change clothes, and the guys would be to my mom, oh, you should buy. This is how I got half my clothes when I was little.
What do you think about Thresh's?
Yeah, they were like, take your clothes out on consignment, then.
They used
Oh,
to say,
yeah.
my mom would
Yes.
say that.
Yes.
See if your mom will buy it for you. And I say, Mom, come on, you know, and she'd be like, well, I don't know.
My brothers and sisters,
Again?
and we modeled for them.
Yeah.
So this is a picture of Michelle and I, at the Granville parade one year, where Mickey and Minnie Mouse, and we're on back then it was called Granville Children's Corner.
Oh, yeah.
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 It was Thresh's first and then Granville Children's Corner.
Yes, I know.
Right.
Correct.
So that's Michelle and I, and I'm Minnie and she's Mickey, and we're on the float. We're about to get on the float. Why they did the Disney thing, I don't know.
Oh, was Granville Children's Corner, wasn't that in the lower half of
The Opera
lower
House.
section of the Opera House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was, I think it was.
Okay, okay. But it was
Children's Corner. It was
Yeah,
all-
Right.
Thresh's
all
Children's.
one, yeah.
Thresh's
Yeah.
Children's.
Yes.
No, but they changed their name, it's the same place. It
Yeah.
was under the Opera House. Yeah. Where we bought our toe socks.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
The red one,
The
yeah.
red one, everybody had that.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't have it, you are cool.
Right.
Just that wonderful bookstore, going downstairs, going down those.
Creaky
With the
steps.
wing handle.
Yeah.
Or the-
Yes.
Just like you look around and the smell, that basement smell. all that.
Yeah.
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 Mr. Young.
The top one. Scramble times.
I worked at
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our father used to go back, because he worked in Lancaster, Ohio, and she would have Daddy pick up glassware and all this kind of stuff from this artisan down in Lancaster and back up to Granville every so often. And so he would get some really good deals for jewelry from Mother because of that. And she had some really nice.
She had fabulous things.
She did. She had gorgeous
Yeah.
things. But yeah, he did that for years for her. I'm not sure how they struck up that bargain. Who knows? My mother has some really beautiful bracelets and stuff from them. Amy
Oh,
Duncan.
yeah, darn.
Well, then this is keeping that tall house on.
Yeah, all right, the tall house.
We do have
I didn't
the
walk in there very
canards, what do you call those things? The fixtures, the cases, they're out there in the other rooms. We
And we
use
have a
them
display of canards.
yes, but we use the canards cases as display cases here.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, the ones that were, yeah.
yes, we have the taller ones and
Oh, neat.
the shorter ones,
Was
so.
that their last name?
Canards, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an interesting definition.
But remember it was Eileen Duncan and she had a place in Granville and it said like
Michigan and
No,
Palm
Florida.
Beach.
Palm Beach. I was gonna say Palm Beach. I don't remember Michigan.
Yeah.
But I remember the sign said Granville and
Petoskey,
Palm
Michigan.
Beach.
I don't remember.
Nice,
that.
correct.
How do you know that? Tell us, Chris.
Well, my mom owned the shop after Aileen. She
Oh,
bought it
that's
from Aileen.
right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, she was an interesting woman.
So did she get that all three or just?
Oh,
that?
no.
Just that one?
No, she had long since closed the other two, but, yeah, Aileen was an interesting woman.
Eclectic, eccentric.
Very eccentric, yes,
Eccentric.
yeah.
Are you Chris DeMent?
Yes,
Oh, when you said that, I know your mom.
Yeah, we're supposed to say her
she's
name.
well. I actually asked her to come tonight. but-
Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
great to see.
Well, we talked about the ox roast and fall and football and all that, but of course, the opposite of that is the time of our life. 4th of July, Spring Valley.
Spring Valley.
I know people have things, memories there.
Dibble dabble.
I have to say, again, Spring Valley was just, everybody has, it's in their heart, I know. But my family would come out to visit us from New York and they were appalled because it wasn't a crystal blue pool. But I have a picture of my nephew, first they loved the watermelon, or the
Grease
4th of July
watermelon.
things, the grease watermelon off the pool. I mean, these guys are 30 years old and they still talk about going to Spring Valley. But my nephew, I have a picture of him where he came up to me and there's a frog in his hand that he fished out of the swimming pool. So that was a cherished, just an incredible cherished place. I so wish.
There was usually
Good
a
thing it wasn't
snake
a
once
floater.
year.
Yeah.
Well, there were some floaters.
Yeah, when you get to Spring Valley, very nice.
Yes.
25 cents to go get that floater.
Oh, the shower sharing.
Yes. Yeah, we were just having.
And 9 times out of 10, we got ourselves there on our own. Like we either
Yes.
walked or rode our
Oh,
bicycles or thumbed, whatever.
It was safe to do so.
Yeah, our parents
Not like
did not
now.
ever take us.
I remember when it was sand bottom.
Yes, yeah, that was nice.
How many of you went there at night swimming?
Went there at night swimming.
How many had clothes?
I didn't go there at night.
How many got yelled at or spotlighted for doing that?
That would have been fun.
Not when the spotlight came out.
That was probably more the 80s for us.
Nowhere to run.
70s, we were little kids.
Yes.
That's why you went to
Spring
Lake
Valley,
Hudson.
every once in a
Yes.
while.
Yeah, Lake Hudson. Yep.
Concert. Didn't they would have dances, concerts there? That was just like magic. I know.
What was the band that used to be down here on South Main Street? They used to play out there at Spring Valley all the time. They used to practice.
Loco weed.
Loco.
Loco weed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We call local weed.
They lived at the house by Choco's.
They drove around it.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. What was,
Oh, and a
was it a frat house or was it, no. I mean, the house where the parking lot at the Granvillians is now. I just remember a trick or treat. And there was always Denison students. I can't remember if it was it was what?
A gray stucco house, Dr.
Remember the
Lovelace's house. It was where the Catholic Church was founded.
Okay, but
And then it became a Denison rental.
rental, okay.
And it was problematic because the women it had that huge porch.
Yes.
And it had that huge flat roof. And the women would sunbathe out there without the aid of their tops.
Yes, that's why I remember it so well.
There were, before the Buxton was restored,
I wore a lot of tires out, but I mine on my bike.
there were people who would try to get onto the balcony of the Buxton so they could look across the street.
That is hilarious. That's a good one. I like that.
I miss the characters. You know, we had Brother Marshall
Oh, yeah.
and Elmer and Junior, and these guys were, they were just, you know, Granville had characters.
Right, part of the fabric.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were just pleasant people. I mean, Marshall could get a little
Yes.
surly at times, but
We were so young though, and we just were like,
You remember the one
get
guy,
used to it.
he always wore a gray sweatshirt, and he kind of had like a barrel chest. He had this wax mustache.
Yes.
oh, that was he used to come into my mom's shop
Yeah.
and buy Mumtaz
Yes.
incense.
Yeah.
It was French incense. What was his name?
Yes.
I don't know, but we were all scared.
He
to death
always
of him.
wore.
I think
Oh.
he had to.
I'll think of it.
his name.
I'll think of
Yes.
it. No.
Yeah,
I never knew him as anything but Mr.
I never heard him talk.
He had handlebar mustache and always walked around like he was a French legionnaire.
Yes, yes.
And yes, and he would buy. My mom bought Mumtaz incense just for him. He was the only person that ever bought it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
She kept it in stock for him.
yes, she did.
Yeah.
And he wrote real long articles in our local.
Did he?
Oh, he did. They went.
Yeah, articles
on,
and letters.
big words, and they went on, but he finished. This is really.
Oh, what was his name?
Who remembers French fries with gravy? Or French fries with French
The letters, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Or the
them.
yum yum.
Or yum
Yum
yum.
yum.
Oh, the yum yum. Why they got rid of that, I'll never know.
Some days that take at night.
This is where we passed away.
We live next door to them.
Oh,
She'd make that all night, at night,
Yeah.
the next day.
So nobody'd see the rest of it.
Oh,
That's right. You had to hide it.
it makes sense. I mean, it was so good.
so good.
Yeah, and then what about red velvet? Evergreen.
Oh.
Evergreen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Breakfast at Evergreen.
Oh, evergreen.
That was my first job out of, while I was in high school, was working at the Evergreens for Doris Steeman and,
Bill.
John.
Big John.
Yeah.
John. And she made us wear white dresses or skirts and tops had to be white with white shoes. And I didn't like the waitress white shoes, so I got Stan Smith's, like the tennis shoes. And I wore those because I was gonna be cooler than the waitress that she wanted us to
Was
be.
Paula working there when you were there? My sister thought Paula worked there.
Really?
I don't remember.
Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen.
Ellen.
Mary Ellen trained us all, and she babysat me when I was little.
My sister Debbie worked there through high school.
Does anybody remember the big, huge airflow, water flow air conditioner that was in the new dining room? It was a really advanced, early air conditioner, and the water flowed over, and it cooled the room. And it was a Chrysler product. It had a huge Chrysler emblem on it.
I remember the mural.
Was it the
And-
map?
Is it
Well,
the
it was
mural?
across from the mural.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on that outside
Is it the
wall.
mural in here now?
I don't believe so.
Oh, I remember the mural too. That's interesting. I didn't know.
What caused the fire there? Does anybody remember what caused it?
Oh, do they? I think it was
Yeah.
a grease fire. It was a grease fire. There were two of the kids that were working there were taking class with my daughter. And they had gone in early to do something and it just got away from it.
The Doris owned the racehorses.
Yeah.
So did Carl Welsh.
On what, Wednesday night was spaghetti night.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember a man, speaking of people in fabric of Granville that made it more interesting, this man came in here into Evergreens almost every day, and he had white hair and he drove a great big huge Cadillac.
Ray.
Oh,
Ray, yeah.
that was yeah. That it
Rod
wasn't a
Ray?
Cadillac. It was a Lincoln.
Rod Ray.
Lincoln?
Rod Ray.
Rod Ray.
Yeah.
yes.
And he wore a cowboy hat most of the
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Now talk about a character.
Yeah.
Could be inquisitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a very big guy.
Yeah, it was Rob Ray though, if he drove a big,
Oh, yeah.
big
Mr.
Continental.
Quisenberry, that's
Yeah.
true.
Quisenberry, he drove.
Yeah.
He came in daily.
Well, and Flo and Al Johnson were there every night. He was a retired Denison
Yes,
controller.
the Johnsons.
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
live on Cherry?
No,
Yes,
that's not
and
who I'm
that
thinking
Greek
of. I'm thinking of
revival.
Yes.
a character dude.
Yeah, that
Right
was-
next to
Right.
McCluskey.
Huskies.
They had
Yeah.
lived up
That's what I'm
there,
thinking
they
about,
had the
Professor.
big, huge, colonial revival on Mount Parnassus. And then their retirement home was the Creek Revival on Cherry Street. But they were there every night.
How many of us didn't lock our doors?
Oh,
None of us.
I mean, we never locked our doors.
I was thinking of a story today. My mom, well, they never locked their doors. And a sheriff, for some reason, it was a civil matter, came to the house and had to leave some papers or something. Knocked on the door. The TV's on, house is unlocked, stuff simmering on the stove. Ma'am. And she came home and he said, "Oh, I was scared to death. I thought something was wrong." She said, "Well, I just went to the IGA. I was going to be right back." And, that's just the way it was.
Do people remember when the IGA opened?
71, maybe?
Well, it was like. they had
Oh, it
a
was,
whole-
yeah, it
a
was
whole
scandalous.
row of Frozen cases. And Fuller's had one little,
Yeah.
we didn't know what it hit.
Why
was
Because of all the
Oh,
grocery
because
stores, there
the
was
mom and
competition.
pops.
Competition.
Remember milk being delivered in your house?
Oh, we had a milkman, we had eggman,
Don Griffith.
we had Mr. Johnson, the dry cleaner guy, used to bring dry cleaning, just hang it right in the house.
We have,
Yeah, Jones did the right cleaning.
well, to get back to characters, we have one that I think probably a lot of people know, but, I lived in Mount Parnassus, and her name was Mrs. Ullman.
Gordon.
And we took piano lessons, and
Yep.
every,
in her house. The condo.
oh, their condo. Yeah, so we were talking about the piano recitals. Cute.
Karen was in there.
And we would dress up in our long little dresses. Julie did a duet when the Saints come marching in. And I don't know what you played, but I found an old program. And I mean, it was kind of bizarre, but this common experience that we had, because we would go there for piano lessons after school. We'd walk there from school.
Walk up the hill.
She was an icon at Spring Valley.
At Spring Valley.
Yeah.
With the heels, with her beautiful, French blonde.
Rolly and Jones.
But then they had to stop.
Yeah.
Ladies.
She had a string well.
Right.
Yes.
I got all about that.
She also had a really beautiful collection of antique glass in her dining room, and displayed in the windows. It was just gorgeous.
They
There was
built-
fruit in it.
They built that same thing in the condo, and their front of those windows has just shelves all the way across.
And she had pet raccoons.
Oh, yeah. They said them.
Yeah, she was.
Well, it was kind of a big deal when Harold's opened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Harold's Animals.
Yeah.
Huh?
Harold's was great.
Well, I mean, we had fast food.
Yeah.
The only
When
one.
did
And we
Harold's
could
open?
go there on our lunch hour when we were
Probably
like, was it just the senior year we got to go?
Yeah, we had senior privilege. Yeah, you could leave. Yeah, we
We went
could
to
leave.
that. Yeah, we went to Pizza Hut. Felt like a bat out of hell.
Harold.
Went there.
After baseball games, like the Little League baseball
Oh,
games,
that's
that where,
Well, I was too young to walk there then.
took up my entire summer,
Yeah.
you know, and you'd go there after games in the summer.
Oh, that was, wasn't that like in the eighties, nineties? Yeah. I don't believe that was.
Just from here.
Not the same like the TV show.
You remember Lum?
There was Lori and me and she worked for that.
Marcy, do you remember
I'm sorry?
when we were seniors, we were the first and last class that had open campus.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks a lot.
What year was that?
So, when we were seniors,
You guys were doing
Thank
acid
you.
in the woods or
if
what?
you didn't have class, you didn't have to be in school.
What was open campus? What did it mean?
It did not, I had classes first, second, and third period, and I was done.
Oh,
Yeah,
and if you were,
So what did you do the rest of the day?
and if
We
you had
played
a study
softball.
hall around lunch, you had a long lunch.
Mostly.
Yeah, you can just leave it there.
Yeah.
Weather
we
permitting.
did that senior year, but like, it's only for like, you got senior lunch, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but you didn't just take off in the day.
Some of it.
Oh, he
I
said.
think we
he
snuck
said that
out.
class.
Yeah, but they kind of.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got it, senior lunch, so.
Yeah.
Greg, you were asking about concerts up at Denison?
Yeah, there was.
Oh, my gosh, yes, they had
Yeah.
tons of notable.
Guffey Lane.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yes.
definitely,
I
yeah.
saw
Yeah.
Cheech and Chong, I saw John Denver up there, I saw,
Yeah,
I saw,
Now
and
they
you could
have
just go out.
James gang.
Oh my gosh, I mean, it was
Mountain.
endless,
Yeah, Mountain.
and the tickets were like $3.
Yeah, well, what it was, back in that time,
Mhm.
one of the kids that went to school there, his dad was a big
A promoter.
promoter.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And that's how they got these bands in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, they got the James gang and there's,
Wow.
Mhm.
I think my Marshall Tucker band was in there.
Mhm.
And
Dad.
Broadway. There was a
Oh,
span
yeah.
about 2 to
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
They had some really good
Oh, I
bands.
remember that.
There were some big bands.
And then there
Big.
were the plays on.
You remember that, John?
Jake Isles.
Yeah, there was some.
Jake Isles, Cheech and Chong.
You walk-
We seen the kids.
You walked in the Livingston gym, you didn't have to smoke marijuana because it's just,
Yes, yes.
man,
When they had that, and John Davidson was in several.
Yeah.
It was like-
They were 10, we're college now. Yeah, every summer, Denison Summer Theater.
Yeah.
Is that what it was called, Denison Summer?
Summer Theater, and they put on about, 6, 8 plays, one.
Yeah, it was
whatever
Harry and Gordon. No, remember they ran a lot of that, Harry and Gordon, are you talking about the tent? Remember, Harry and Gordon lived on the corner of
Oh,
Main
yeah,
and
Harry
Elm.
Gordon, yeah.
Yeah, Harry, what are their names, Gordon
Condon.
Gordon
I don't know
Condon,
Harry's last name.
Harry. I just remember Harry and Gordon.
We talked about characters a little bit, Sally Jones.
Well, yes.
Like
She was a
unique
good-
Granville character.
Yes.
Don't get caught on her land.
Yep.
Minnie Hunt Moody.
Minnie High Moody, I would walk by her house every day.
Minnie High Moody.
You didn't want to stop in front of her house.
No.
Yeah, that's right. That was her show. Radio program.
Mr. McDaniel.
Still have a Portland.
Mrs. Olson. Always dressed up as a girl. Remember they lived in one, was it on Main? Down that area, the one where it goes up the hill. Yeah, they lived right at the top of the hill. And she.
Because it was.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Rucker and
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
brother,
she-
Jay.
She was good.
Jay, that class.
Every year ahead of-
Like, they were pretty crazy, ornery,
Obnoxious.
I try not to hang with her.
What class was that?
like they broke the
79.
exit signs.
79?
Oh, or 80
They didn't know some of our classes.
Alan, what year were you?
They were on Friday.
That's everyday stuff.
79, right?
It was some-
Yeah. I'm like 83, so Becky's 83, I'm 83.
And your maiden name?
Sawyer. Yeah.
Okay.
She's-
All right.
she's- Yeah, Tim's, yeah, Tim Sawyer, yeah.
My babysat.
Mr. Sawyer.
See, police is still looking for someone else.
Oh.
These days.
My babysat for the babies.
Another Denison memory I wanted to bring up was the bowling alley. Because
Oh,
we spent
yes.
a lot of time up there. My dad worked up there, and as a kid going up there and like hanging out, he worked behind the counter. My parents
Dennis
were both
bowling
in
alley?
bowling league.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a whole
I
nother
was
world.
there
then.
nights a week.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, here,
Yeah.
raise your hands, everybody be honest here. How many of you rolled a keg down off of Denison? Hands up. Come on, gotta be more than two of us.
Stole it from the fraternity house.
Or,
DU house.
or slid down the hill on a tray.
Yeah.
Cafeteria tray.
Oh, we had to cut Alligator Hill though.
Yeah, Alligator Hill, yep.
But
Dennis,
Dennis,
when
when
you
you
get
up
we
at
didn't have
Denison,
any
Dennis
cats
had
to go with.
hour
We didn't know it.
like, it didn't matter.
We
Right,
bust
you
the
just
mark
go,
out.
we were
Take
Denison
care.
property.
We were townies, but
Yeah,
we hung out.
they didn't like shoo you off of Denison property ever that I remember.
No, we
Beat
go
up
up
the
there after
bugs at
school.
4 a.m. in the morning.
Did we go?
No, okay. I
I
mean,
won't
but
tell you
like,
who was with me.
we were always on Denison, we walked over Denison to get to school in the morning and we drove at night.
She was waiting for Susie and I one night. And we've been- Susie and I were sneaking back into Susie's house and
That's very interesting.
So good.
Busted.
That happened to Susie a lot. I think her one arm is longer than the other. Because I was with her one night too. Oh,
Well, I was talking to these guys about how influential our brothers and sisters were with us. Like, my brother and sister were living the high life in the 70s with you, Darcy, and other people, and it just, we heard their music, we stole their records, we stole their maxi dresses.
Yep.
Like, I would try Tracy's maxi dress on with her peace sign.
Oh,
and, you know, like, but we were little during, you know, sort of like height of the 70s, but how influential your generation was on.
Well, I still say we grew up in the best of times.
We did.
Oh,
Yeah,
we certainly
absolutely.
did.
Boy, you're not kidding.
It was good.
Carol King, Carly Simon.
Janice,
Todd Rundgren, Genesis, Peter Gabriel. I mean, that was my sister. I listened to all of her music.
JT.
Skinner.
Yeah.
Skinner.
Oh, yeah.
Mad Dog.
It's the first time I heard Does anybody remember?
Kings out at Cat Run.
Oh,
my.
Generational.
Yes.
The satellite was for Cat Run, the bridge, and the cliff.
The cliff.
And the bridge, yeah, these were all amazing places. And even I remember at the cliff, the sheriff would come out and commingle with everybody.
That went on for
Wild
years.
times.
Is that still going on when you guys were? The bridge and the cliff?
I mean, I don't remember, but other people in my grade did
Oh,
get out to Cat
my.
Run.
Remember everybody would meet uptown in front of Taylor's? Trying to
Taylor's
decide
was
where we're gonna go.
Right?
We had our choices. You had Cat Run, you had the bridge, you had the cliff, you had the cornfield. And you had a choice of 2 cemeteries to go to. And I forget what, we used to go up on Jones Road where you turn right into that.
Quarry.
The
Yeah, the quarry, yeah.
No, the other way. You go up Jones Road and you turn right at the top of the hill.
Oh, yeah.
That house,
Delaware Road.
we used to drive all the way back in there. You could look down on the Granville Road.
Oh, right.
So we always
Before
used to-
their house.
Yeah, before the house.
Yeah.
You used to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back in there.
Roads ran to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of places.
Oh, the other thing we were talking about was the energy crisis in Union School.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Union School.
Yeah.
All that
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
that influenced
Was
us
it even
like
our wild
when we were
years?
5th grade. You guys were,
We had our junior high there.
you had your junior high.
Yes. Yep,
You're right.
yep. 7th and 8th grade was at Union.
We had 5th grade.
We had 5th grade there, and then during the energy crisis.
The very
we did-
next year.
We did split
We did,
sessions.
we did do that split
And
session.
then remember
For
that? For a
the
short
77.
time.
You can only do half days. You
I was
go to school
scared.
till noon. And
Yeah.
you
Oh my God, we're gonna
I was too.
I'm sure I didn't say it out loud, but that's what I was feeling inside.
Remember that? They turned the heat on, we wore coats
We
in
were.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we didn't have heat in school.
I literally thought we were all going to die.
Yeah,
70,
I
I
was
was,
school.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody wore coats.
It could be, I think it was 76.
You know what?
Oh, well, that was another deal.
Yeah, that's our side of town. Yeah, there's a lot that went down there. So I want to bring up, who remembers Fanny Down?
Oh, yeah.
So that's our side of town, west side. West side.
My brother lived there.
Oh, we did? In Fanny Down?
Hit top floor.
Okay.
Was it apartments?
So Fanny Doan originally was a building that Denniston owned that, missionary, Baptist missionaries' children lived there while they went on mission trips.
To Burma.
To Burma? Okay. And then later, it became apartments. Like, I remember the Prentices lived there.
Yep.
And your brother lived there.
And there was two buildings. There was a larger building, then over to the left was a house.
The house, I remember like the Carrions lived there when we were
Yes,
growing up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there was that fabulous spring behind it where
we played.
it was
all the time.
cemented.
Yes.
So when you were thirsty, you didn't go home, you just went to the spring
Right.
and it was cold.
It's
It
very
was
cool.
amazing.
We played in it all the time.
Oh, always.
But anyway, the whole Fanny Doan thing that we did, like growing up, that whole west side part of town was years and years of the Rod Williams Sportsplex.
Oh, yes.
Which was,
Was there
you guys
baseball
remember
down
Rod
there?
Williams?
Yeah.
We played baseball, we played football, we played soccer, we played
It was-
volleyball,
is that where
every kind of tag
It was wiffle ball.
possible.
Wiffle ball.
Yeah.
And the Finlands, remember the
Yeah,
Finlands?
yeah.
They lived right next door to
Oh, yeah.
the Fanny Doan.
The Gerbers
So-
and the Gallants.
The Gerbers lived down the way, the
They were
Gallants
all
were
right
there,
across.
Dixons were there,
Wallenbergs.
Remember that.
Weavers, Greg Green, he used to come down, Rod Williams.
Yep.
Anyway, I was much younger, so like we played wiffle ball like every single day there in the summer.
It's funny you talk about that, because back in 2019, when we had our 45th class reunion, I forget who I was talking to, but they grew up out on the west side. I was Granger Street, and we had the same thing go on our side
Sure,
of town.
Right,
Of course
everyone
you did.
had their.
We
Right, you had your
we had the
like,
blinds, the butts, you know, all
Yeah.
those guys now.
Yeah.
And everything. Every weekend we're at football and everything like that. I forget who was I was talking to about that. I said, man, we could have a World Series.
Oh, a neighborhood series.
we should have had cross-town competitions.
That's what I said.
I mean, we
Because
could have.
about Parnassus, we had the same thing. We had our little field we played in, and Generations, we played football.
We played
Keep
in the
away,
street.
Spud.
Yes.
We did on Spelman Street, it went, well, still goes between Pearl and Grangerville. We'd play Foursquare out there with the Stark Kids and the Petitos.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go down Liddell Drive and play with the Max and the Brewbakers, the Shermans, and whoever else was there.
Sure.
But do kids do that anymore?
No.
Does anybody?
They just do their
On
thing.
East Maple, they do. They're out in the street all the time.
That's
You're like,
And in the winter on the west side, we
with sledding down Thornwood
Yes.
Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Part of
Yes.
it was closed off, that was right next to my house.
Yeah, we had Alligator Hill.
And we were coming down
We
on
did
the
that.
Cardinals Drive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we started in
And all the way
Cardinals.
through Edgewood, I
Yep,
remember
and I
one
went.
winter, it was so
I was
snowy
up
and
there,
icy.
we were up there
Started
one day.
stopping,
Yep.
all
These
back
desert
down,
seats
and all the
up there.
parents,
They
kids
pulled
were
the
out
hood
at the
off
same
the
time.
Yeah.
It's just
We jumped
glorious.
on that thing. There was two of them sitting on the
Yeah,
front.
lizard.
Had
You
the
talk
legs
about
hanging
the
off
lizard.
the- They went down, they said, they go to both his legs.
But yeah, Fanny Doan was a big deal back then. There was a lot of games. It was not just all those. It was Cavagrotti's lived behind there.
Yeah.
The Cavagrotti's owned the flower
A
shop,
flower shop.
and so we would use that little area, and we'd go in between the house and the flower shop. We'd play capture the
Oh, my
flag
gosh.
a lot. That was another
Yep.
one.
what's there now?
A lady, a couple owns it. It's a house. Yeah, I don't think they use it for that extra space for anything. I'm not sure.
It's not a
the
greenhouse
What
anymore.
was the greenhouse called? What was the
Angley's.
Angley's.
Yeah.
And then the Ickuses were like catty corner from us.
But any places where you got your mom from. school,
Yeah, for homecoming.
the full football.
Yep.
I had this idea about the neighborhoods just being so tight, you know, and that, like maybe creating history by neighborhood. And then Then it'd be really interesting, the crossover of the different neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. Because I was basically running around
That's a
town,
good-
so I hung there, hung there, hung there, hung at
Yes.
the starts.
Yeah.
Well, I think that that's
Like
what
all
was
the
so
different-
wonderful about growing up when we did, is that, I mean, we didn't need our parents to take us anywhere.
Right.
You could literally just get on your bicycle and go, or
Just
walk.
walk.
I mean, your mom was like, get out. In the morning,
Yeah.
she was like, get out. And if you don't get out, you're going to work. You're like, okay. I mean, like, I spent so much time at the Marshall's house, so much time at the Cardinal's house. I mean, I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to have to work.
And you're gone all day long, then that's what you-
Absolutely,
They have to do your
until mom came out with low, she literally had a call, a shell that had the, yeah, and she would blow it, especially if we were down at Penny Dome. And she would blow it and it'd go. And all of us Weaver kids were like, gotta go, because if we didn't get there in a timely fashion, we were up shit creek.
And it was your call.
It was our call, and everybody knew.
Because we had bells.
Had a whistle?
Have you had a whistle? We had a bell on our back.
Yeah, my mom has a
We were
comfort.
down at the playground all the time.
Oh, that's true. You
Yeah,
just.
I
have to
still have my
school.
bell. And then McKinney's, which was up on Mappanassus, they had a big dinner bell.
Oh, yeah.
Did the Basslers have one? A bell on their porch, I feel like.
Oh.
Where all these bells was, I was hearing all the time.
Yeah, all the.
It's kind of a weird common thread.
Oh, we do it right now.
We have a party line.
Party line.
Oh,
We
party
got them all. I
lines,
think my brother
yeah.
was doing- Oh, yeah, 582. It wasn't 587, it was 582.
582, if you, yeah, if you're a private.
So
one.
what were your home phone numbers?
I
0219.
I do 582.
0219.
Do you know other people?
Like diamond.
1383
The 1300 was the Cardinals, and yours was 166. Oh, 606.
That's what
Oh, what's the 1800 was
I still got one of them old black diamonds.
Do you?
It still works.
I still have my original number from when I was born,
No,
1618.
that's pretty cool.
And my husband keeps saying that we're gonna get rid of it
And you're like, no.
because it's $10 a month. And I'm like, well, no, we're not. Because I've had it since I was born and we're not changing it now.
I love it.
You were probably like disintegrate.
When I moved back here, I bought my dad's house. And so then the phone company tried to change the number on me. And I convinced them that I couldn't because blah, blah, blah. And then they let me keep it.
And then what names did you put in the directory? Remember the old Granville?
Where you knew the husband and the wife, all the children, where they worked,
Where they were.
what the wife did.
Yep.
Remember that in the Granville?
Yes.
The booster put it out,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And they would call the home
Yeah.
and say, okay, and so one time, they would ask for the parent, not parents, but what's your name, what's your occupation? What does your husband do, what does the wife do? What are the children's names? So one time they called my house and my brother answered the phone and he decided to give them a little bit of false information. Okay?
No,
Not Chris. My brother would have been Chris Rucker. So yeah, he said, yeah, the children's names are, what did he say?
Zelda?
Yeah, something terrible like Christopher and Zelda or whatever. And then they printed it. They printed it. And so of course,
I
you
gotta
have
look.
it.
I gotta look. I'll look
You probably
upstairs.
have it. It's not Zelda. It's like really something like some terrible name or whatever.
When I was in band, we used to walk around the neighborhood downtown and we would sell spots on the calendar with your birthday.
Yes, yep.
And you would go from.
Or
everybody would,
anniversary.
Buy the calendar then, and it already had birthdays on it of everybody that lived in the area that chose to put their birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that, Joyce.
Well, and we
That's
grew
how
up,
we made money, and heaven forbid that you walk house to house nowadays.
oh yeah, it's not happening.
And in the band, you had those heavy uniforms on the 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
They were-
Kids
Yeah,
now
right.
wear shorts.
Well,
Well, we had to wear the whole thing.
Well, we went to camp one year and we were gonna get our matriarch pictures done. And we were trying to decide whether we were in a summer uniform or a winter uniform. You'll appreciate this, Lacey. Because I'm walking down the hall and I hear Judy and somebody else talking and they're saying, we can't one of them would be uniforms, because Darcy's was like. My memory, I'm pretty sure.
Well, this is really random, but Miss Majorette, when did they quit doing the fire batons? Because
Oh,
you could
yeah.
never do that now, you know, somebody gets sued.
I don't
But
know
the
what
fire
happened.
batons, that
I
was
think
such a
they were
big
just-
deal.
Did it?
I think they still do.
Yeah, a few years back, we had a incredible.
I did,
Yeah.
but when I was little, I had flashlights.
Claire did it.
Oh, you had
Major
the, yes, I
did
remember.
Fire batons, you had flashlights.
To practice.
I'm gonna take my.
Did you guys have fire batons? Yeah, I think it ended pretty after.
But it did come back, for
But it
sure.
was
Oh,
only
really?
during homecoming night. It wasn't every
Yeah, no,
night.
no, no, no.
It was
No,
only
it was special
homecoming.
occasions.
Special occasions, right?
And then sometime during our high school years, well, no, it wasn't our high school years. It was before that, because my dad was still a band director. He had lights on the
Mm-hmm.
uniforms, do you remember that? It was a big deal, the lights went down in the stadium
Yes.
and all the
Yes.
uniforms had lights going up there.
And everybody's
Oh, I was
battery this big that they were
Oh,
attached.
big deal.
And they wiggle loose and the lights would go off and on.
Yeah, that was a big deal, yeah.
It was beautiful when it worked.
Yeah, you guys were ahead of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, circling back to the telephones, you couldn't do anything in town or anywhere because before you even got home,
Yeah, you were told.
your mom or your dad knew. I mean, like your mom was like standing there, like she knew. And wait until your father gets home, which is like, so I heard that 3 times, and by the time I was like old enough to like try to get in trouble, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting in trouble. I've seen it happen 3 times. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting in trouble. I've seen their asses getting beat too many times.
My sisters.
No, thank you.
She feared my father.
I did. I was like,
He
I've
at
seen the
least
paddle.
30.
I've seen it all. I've seen it's not going to go there. But seriously, it's like, how did you know that so and so? Like, how did you know Terry did this? It's because everybody knew everybody.
Everybody knew
And it was a
Yeah.
phone call away. Yeah, you know, your daughter's down here, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, you were screwed. Yeah. So
My
I,
dad was in Columbus with every.
yeah, yeah.
And they did know everything.
Oh,
They did,
God bless those
absolutely.
Hawaiians, yeah.
I'd like to know who told my mom about my stuff. She knew everything.
It was me.
She did, I guess.
Me and Susan Stark used to climb up on top of the elementary school
Oh
and
my
had picnics.
Oh,
And
sweet.
one time it was like, I don't know, it was
Get up there.
asphalt up there. I don't even know. It was like really hot. But we did it. We climbed up the gutter and we totally got busted.
You climbed up right there at the corner by my house.
Yep, yep.
Set the window, they had concrete, jump up that.
Exactly. And then my mom got the call.
Oh, we used to go
Your
up there and hit
daughter
the balls
and
off
Susan
the
are
roof.
up on the
Yeah.
having a picnic. I was like,
I can see that happening.
Heavy Stark was a cool one.
Yeah.
she worked in the James store.
Yeah, she was sweet.
The times.
The times and the James, you're right, the times.
Times first.
You're right.
I pretty much know all the people that worked uptown.
Yeah.
Johnny Huffman. and-
Sure.
yeah.
Don't you miss picking up sandwiches that are Blackstones?
I
Every
totally-
time we would come home for summer, we'd try and do a bunch of stuff, and like if we were getting ready to go like to Kings Island or somewhere for the day, the first stop was Blackstones.
Always.
Everybody got to go and pick out their sandwich, their cookie, their chips, and then we were on the road.
And we loved doing it.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was great.
I know those,
Cheese spread.
the Kiwanis, I think what I remember, what was so magical was that Daddy was a part of the Kiwanis, and it wasn't just that he was a Kiwanian. The the family were there as well.
Yes.
And so, it wasn't just him collecting sap. It was all of us. It wasn't
Food
him
tent.
just doing, the food tent. It was all of us. It wasn't Daddy just doing the pancake. It was all of us.
Yes.
And so it was totally immersive for the entire family, which, for Daddy on the normal Monday nights, he'd come home and he'd look at, what's for dinner? Yeah, I'm eating at the Granville Inn. I'm
We
eating at
had
the
soup night on Monday
Because,
nights because
yeah.
he refused to eat soup.
So oftentimes on Monday, if he didn't like what Mother was serving, I'm eating at the inn tonight. And so he would go and do that, and I'm sure he had a beer or whatever.
So, my dad was one of the charter members of Granville Sertoma.
Oh.
Right? And you all remember the over-under game at the 4th of July?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was them. That was their fundraiser. And, they did that for years, and then Granville decided that it was gambling and they can't do it anymore. But that was their huge fundraiser for their philanthropy was speech and hearing. And they actually funded the speech and hearing center that Barb Leckner ran or did run. I don't doubt she's still part of it now, but it's still there. But anyway, they would go Monday nights and they went to the L&K.
Oh.
And the L&K and yeah.
I don't know how Kiwanis works anymore. I mean, I'm not a part of that organization. But the fact that they were just brought the entire family.
Right.
The family were involved
Yes.
in what was going on. And it was really kind of a cool thing.
4th of July, I was never missed a minute.
Exactly.
They're all-
Exactly.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
I didn't put it the night before.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, everybody went uptown.
Lights up,
Yeah.
that's the big deal.
Oh, and the Nichols. Adair Nicole, Becky and Rob, and the kids, we would meet them in town. And I don't know whether we had something from Taylor's or what, but we would sit there every year and just watch them put up the 4th of July. And that was just.
And the day after was always magical. Well, it's still magical.
It is.
Because you go through town, it's all covered.
But the parades, even the parade was just so, I don't know, it was big. It was awesome. It was so, not fire trucks only.
And they had the neighborhood, you're talking about the neighborhood, they had a huge neighborhood float.
We don't have that
Yeah,
anymore.
yep.
Yeah.
I'm like 7 there and I'm riding my bike. Remember you rode your bike in the parade?
Yeah.
And you decorated it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so sweet.
I've got a Uncle Sam's hat on that my mother made me wear.
It's huge.
It kept falling off.
I had one like that, but it's huge. I was an abdo man.
You were the what?
Abdo man.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
I could fit it better. I was too skinny back then.
I call them belly boys.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Bloody Mary's helped you get.
The only place to really, the only fast food place,
I know.
well, there were two, BBS, do you remember the BBS?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Puerto
There was
Vallarta?
a BBS in indoor, and then there was the
Stewart's.
That was
Stewart's,
fancy.
Stewart's.
Others
Yeah,
was
we
fancy.
PBF was a big treat. One of the funnier stories are, whenever we would want to do something extra as a family, my dad would say, well, let me look in the hole. And he'd get this wall, and there was a little hole, and we never figured out how he had extra money in the well. And after he died, my mom got his paycheck. His big thing was, he'd get his paycheck, he'd go to the bank, he'd cash his paycheck, he'd give it to my mom. We found out he made like $20 more each pay.
Oh, yeah.
I never told my mom. And I was
Oh.
I was
Oh.
wanted to do something extra, but I mean, we didn't go out to eat as
No,
kids.
you didn't go out.
We go as families now. The bowling alley, I think, was a nice restaurant. On 21st Street, we had a restaurant.
Yeah, we had fish fry. We didn't go out, but we went to fish fry.
Yeah. Yeah, going out, it wasn't.
I remember riding my bike to L&K, probably with Susan Stark or you or somebody, and it was like, we were in New York City, that was.
I love it.
By myself, yeah, we'd go.
Well, we could probably go on for a couple more hours, but it's after 8, so some of us need to get to bed.
You old?
I am old, officially. So, if anybody wants to kind of sum up growing up in Granville, like good, bad, ugly,
Great, it's awesome.
I think we've had a good time. I've
Yeah.
learned a little bit.
It was amazing, and it was a place where everybody cared about everybody when something would happen. I mean, I learned that at a very young age when community came together and the school came together and they just did things to support one another. It was like a huge family, really.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
safe. I
And it
feel
was
like,
really connected by the churches so much, you
I
know.
think it was a
It
good,
still is,
safe
but like back
place.
then, it was really connected. I
Safe
felt.
and so small, just,
And you
You
felt
know-
like you really did know everybody. I mean, you could walk through town
Yeah.
and, and say hi to Mr. or Mrs. and the kids above and below you in class.
And now you don't know anybody.
Yeah, now you're like,
I do say, who are these people in my village?
Well, I get so mad, I walk on the bike path. I'll be walking down the bike path, and they can walk on. I look, you know, right like everybody.
Right.
I look and say hi, like that.
well, yes. And Toad said that when we sat down. Back then, you know, you were friends, it was so fluid. You were friends with
Right.
kids ahead of you, behind you, brothers, sisters, everybody played together and were on teams together or in group, you know, activities, band, whatever, together.
Some of us have been
It's
gone,
great.
and for a long time and then have come back.
Yes.
I mean, and
Yeah.
I know that there's other people here who are back to Granville. And, you know, so, but always felt a connection.
Yeah.
Always felt like this was home to come back to, no matter what. So, and I'm happy to be back.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, on the 4th of July, we lived overseas for 10 years, and every summer we'd come home. And lovely little Kate Beaver would squeal and say, Darcy, because her dad and I share a birthday, it was a big deal, but I bring our kids here, and they enjoyed Spring Valley, and I remember that Tyler and Debbie were on the Ferris wheel one year, and she would always say to them, look at Aunt Debbie's village. And that was the name of the town.
Yeah.
Debbie's village.
Aw.
That's awesome.
It was a great place to grow.
Yes, it
Yes.
was a great place.
I will say, since I work here at the Historical Society, it's amazing to me how many Denison grads that actually went to college here, never lived here, went to college, and then have come back to live, to
have
retire.
Well,
Yeah,
even,
lots.
I think even Granville
Yeah.
kids grow up and you know, everybody knowing and getting in trouble because, you know, moms and dads talking to her like, I can't wait to get out.
Mhm.
You leave, but then it's like,
Yes.
oh, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Because it was the best.
Yeah, but I mean, to go to college in
Yeah.
a place
Yeah.
and then choose to retire there, that says a lot about the community,
Yes,
about
it
the
does.
college.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that that's pretty cool.
There's even parents of Denison students who
Yeah.
were here a lot
Mhm.
during the 4 years their kids were here, then ended up retiring here.
Yeah.
They
I
liked the
love
village
that.
so much.
Yeah.
It's we're really blessed.
All right, well, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
At some point.
Yeah.